Hey guys, it's Thomas here with Technovision, and in this tutorial series, I'm going to show you how to create a Minecraft mod for version 1.19 using the Fabric API. Now the first thing we want to do to get started is of course download the Java JDK, and you can do that by going to the description of this video and clicking on the first link, which will take you to the Java download page. Now you're welcome to use Adopt OpenJDK or the Oracle version, whichever one you prefer, but you want to make sure that you download at least Java 17 or above. So you can use 18 if you would like, but I'm going to use 17 for this series. So scroll down here, click Java 17, and select your operating system. In my case, it is Windows, and I'm going to download the x64 installer here. So hit download, and I've actually already downloaded it and it's on my desktop. So once you have downloaded it, you're gonna get this little install here, and you can double click it to open it. Now once you've opened up the installer, it's really quick. All you have to do is hit next, and then next again, and it should take less than 3 seconds to install, as you'll see here right now. And there we go, so Java has successfully installed. You can hit close, and we can actually throw away this installer as we no longer need it. Now the next thing we need is an IDE software, and you're welcome to use whatever IDE you want, but I'm going to be using the IntelliJ IDE, so we're going to download that right now. So go to the description to that second link, and that will take you to the IntelliJ download page, and of course you can download the community edition for free as always. So we're going to hit download, and like always, I already downloaded it and it's on my desktop. So once you have the actual application, you can double click to open it. Now once it's open, you can just hit next, and then next again. And there's a few options here I'm going to select, but you can select whatever you would like. I want to add a desktop shortcut since I think that will be handy, and I like to have the bin folder added to path. So we can do those two there, and the rest I'm going to leave blank, but again, you can select whatever options you would like here. Hit next, and then install, and it's going to take a second to install, so I will see you when it's done. Alright, so as you can see, the setup has completed, and it's going to actually ask you to restart your computer to finish the installation. So what we're going to do is click reboot now, and when you select finish, this is actually going to restart your computer immediately, so just be aware of that. And now we're going to restart our computer, so I'll be right back when that's done. Alright, so my computer has restarted, and now we can actually delete this installer because we no longer need it. And we do have this little desktop icon so we can run our IDE. So great, everything's working perfectly there. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is two optional pieces of software that I highly recommend downloading, but again, they're optional, but I just think they will be very helpful for you guys. So in the description, the next link will take you to a Notepad++ download page. This is a really useful software that will allow you to edit files from your desktop easily. So I highly recommend downloading this. And the next thing is also WinRAR. This is a application that allows you to open archives or .rar files essentially. So I highly recommend downloading this as well, or 7-zip. Both work great, but I'm not going to show you how to download these because it's very simple. But yeah, I highly recommend those two applications. Alright, so now we can actually get started making our mod. So what you want to do is go to that next link in the description, and it will take you to this GitHub page called the Fabric Example Mod. This is a example template mod that Fabric puts out and updates every time Minecraft or the Fabric API is updated, and this will give you a just really easy starter template so we can get right into it. So you can use this as a template if you want to make a GitHub repository, but in my case, I'm just going to show you how to download it and do it from there. So we're going to download this as a zip by going to Code and Download Zip. And I already have it on my desktop, but it will give you this archive here, Fabric Example Mod for 1.19. And this is where WinRAR comes in handy. We can double click this to open it, and you'll get this little folder here. And you can see that we have all of these files inside of it. This is the actual mod itself that we're gonna edit. So we can drag this file to our desktop, and there we go. It's gonna make a copy of it, and we can actually get rid of this archive because we no longer need it. And yeah, we are actually going to rename this folder now to the name of our mod. So I like to use camel case, but you can name it whatever you would like, of course. I'm going to name mine tutorial mod like that in camel case. And I'm just going to throw it over here to the right hand side so that we can store it really easily on our computer. Great. The next thing you want to do is open up this tutorial mod folder here. And you're going to want to go to the a Gradle Properties source file. So it's just going to be called Gradle, and it's going to be a properties source file type here. and we can right click here and edit with Notepad++, or you can use whatever Notepad application that you like. And oh, this is full screen, but it's gonna open up a little Notepad here. And this is pretty much just some basic Fabric properties that we can edit. So first thing we want to edit here is the memory usage. So this is how much memory is available to Gradle to build our mod. If you have a lot of memory, you can set this to something like 3 or maybe even 4 gigabytes of RAM. But in my case, I'm just going to set it to, I guess, 2. You can do whatever you want here. You can leave it as 1 if you would like. It's just going to allow your mod to run faster, or build faster rather, in Gradle. Next thing is the Fabric properties. This is the Minecraft version and the Yarn mappings version and loader version that we're going to be using for this mod. So we have 1.19 here, of course, because we're doing this for Minecraft 1.19, and it comes out with some, preset version here for our Yarn mappings. However, sometimes this is not always up to date. So what I want you guys to do is go to the next link in the description, and that will take you to this great website here on the Fabric websites. You can also actually see, I believe, a link to it right here. So you can also just click this link as well. Both will take you to the same page. But this is going to allow you to actually check the most up-to-date version for this mappings, loader, and also the Fabric API. So we can select our Minecraft version here, and you could do any version you want. So in our case, we're doing 1.19, so we're going to click 1.19, and you can actually see here, if we bring this up, that there are actually some things that are a little bit out of date. So Yarn mappings is out of date, and so is loader version, and also so is Fabric version. So we can update those really quickly by just copying. So we can copy Yarn mappings and paste it in here and push it forward a little bit. So this was updated to build.4, and then maybe just to make this easier, I'm just going to copy the version. So loader version, I'm going to update, and Fabric version here as well is another thing we can update. So yeah, you don't have to do this. The template itself is fine, but I like to have the most up-to-date stuff, so we're going to do that there. Great, so now that that's all up to date, the next thing is our mod properties, and this is custom to your mod specifically. So the mod version is just, of course, the version of your mod. We're gonna leave this as is because this is the first version, it's 1.0. Then we have the Maven group, and this is gonna be pretty much your package presentation up to the main class. So, there's lots of ways to do this. You can use GitHub if you wanna use that as your repository name. Mine is gonna be the name of me as a developer, so Technovision, or you could use like your domain name as well, and then and then the name of your mod. So in our case, tutorial. So that's your Maven group. And then for the archives base name, it's just going to be the name of your mod separated with each space by a dash. So in my case, tutorial-mod. And there we go. We can save and close out of this as we are done with it. All right, so now it's time to actually open up our mod in IntelliJ. So you can go over to IntelliJ here and open this up, and it will take a second here, and we can go over to open, and you want to find your mod folder pretty much. So go over to users, your username for your computer, desktop, and I believe we named it tutorial mod. So there we go, tutorial mod. That's this folder right here that we just made, and open that up, and you want to go to build.gradle. And you can hit OK and open as a project. Now this is going to build the project with Gradle, and this can take a while. It can take anywhere from a couple minutes to sometimes even up to like 30 minutes for some people, based on, I guess, your memory usage, what we set in that file earlier. So I'm gonna let this run, and I will be back when it's done. All right, so as you can see here, we have this green check and it says build successful, so we know that everything worked great. So what we can do is just close out of this and go actually to our project. So as you can see here in the package explorer, we have our source folder here with the main folder, and we've got Java and resources. Now we're going to talk about these in more detail later, but resources is going to hold all of your settings for the mod and also your assets as well. And the Java folder is going to hold your Java code like you would expect. So we have some placeholder stuff here, but what we want to do is actually just delete all of this, because we're going to set our own package and our own class here in a sec. So let's actually just highlight all of this, and I'm holding shift here to highlight all of it, but you could just delete each one individually if you want. And we're gonna right click, delete, and delete. So we want our package presentation to follow the same thing that we set in that file earlier. So we want to right click, new, package. And again, if you remember, I used com dot my domain name or my developer name, so Technovision dot, and then the name of my mod, so tutorial. But again, you can use whatever package presentation you would like. There we go. So hit enter, and we've created these packages here. And if they're all bunched up for you in like one line, all you have to do to spread them out like this is go over to this little wheel up here in the top right, go to tree appearance, and you can uncheck compact middle packages, and that will make yours look like mine. So that's a fix right there if you want. But in your tutorial package here, the class package, we're gonna right click, new, and create a new Java class. And this is gonna be our main mod class. So I'm gonna name this tutorial mod. Great, so we can hit enter. And what you wanna do is make sure this extends a class. So extends, or I guess actually I believe it's implements, so implements. And this class from the Fabric API is gonna be called mod initializer. And this is an interface here that we're gonna implement. So yeah, you're gonna do that. And then you wanna hover over this arrow here and make sure you implement methods. And we're gonna implement the onInitialize method. And like you would expect, this specific method is gonna run when your mod is initialized. So if you want, you can actually throw in like a system.out print statement so you can actually check if your mod is running, but it's not necessary, so yeah. Now that this is done, we can actually go over to our resources folder here, and we need to edit the fabric.mod.json file here. So go to resources, open that up, click here, the fabric.mod.json. And like I said earlier, this is the settings for your mod. So there's a lot of stuff we have to go over here. So the first thing is your mod ID. Now the mod ID is extremely important when it comes to modding. This is like a tag for your actual mod. It has to be unique to that mod, and it's usually pretty short, something quick to represent your mod. So for example, if your mod was named Industrial Craft, you could put IC for your mod ID. Or if your mod was the Witchery mod, you could put Witchery. In my case, I'm just gonna name my mod ID tutorial. But yeah, very important that this is something unique to your mod and that it's relatively short, but long enough to still be unique. So yeah, once you have set that, we can move on to the name here. And this is just the name of your mod. So you can use spaces here because this is all just for aesthetic purposes to show the user information about the mod. So in our case, we could do like tutorial mod, like that. And then of course we could also set a description here. So I'm gonna set a description that just says, this is an example mod for my YouTube series. There we go. And you can also set an author as well, or several authors if you would like. So I'm gonna get rid of this me here and type in Technovision since I'm the author of this mod. And of course you could always add a comma and throw in another author there as well if you would like. You can also have some contact information here. If you have a homepage or if you have a GitHub repository for your mod, if it's open source, you can throw those down here, but I don't have either of those right now, so we can actually just leave these blank for right now, like that. And then you can also set a license for your mod. Now there are several different types of licenses that you can use, and I actually have a resource in the description of this video that you can click on right here on the GitHub docs that will actually show you a bunch of different licenses here and their little keyword. And you can select whichever one you like. I highly recommend doing some research on which one you want to use because they are all very different. But in my case, I'm going to be using the Creative Commons 0 version 1.0 universal, which I believe allows anyone to have access to this mod and change it if they want. So I'm going to use that. And we can copy this license keyword here and throw it in. But as you can see, it's already in there. So yeah, that's just a quick way to get familiar with licenses. We also have the icon for our mod. So this is going to be stored in the assets folder here. And you can see in our resources folder, we do have that assets folder and the same sort of package here, assets mod ID icon. Same thing here, assets mod ID icon. This is the icon of your mod. So if we open this up, you can see it's just like a little placeholder from MS Paint. It's a little derpy looking, but I highly recommend that you replace this with your own icon for the mod. And you're also going to want to change your mod ID here and the package name to your mod ID. So remember that mod ID we set up here, tutorial, you want to change those two things to that. So we're going to change the package here, mod ID, right click, refactor, rename, and change it to tutorial, which is our mod ID. And then also down here, you also want to change this to tutorial as well. So this is just telling the mod that it points to this icon here. It's in assets, your mod ID, and then icon.png, just like we have set here. So yeah, once you've done that, we can come down a little bit more. You can ignore environment here, but you want to make sure that you change this main little section here, this main array. So this is going to point to your main class, which is our tutorial mod class in this case. And it's very important that you get this right, otherwise the mod won't know which class to run as the mod initializer. So we want to delete this and follow our package presentation exactly here. So we have com, and remember it starts right under the Java folder. So com dot technovision, so technovision dot, and then the name of our mod folder, so tutorial dot, and then our main class here, which is tutorial mod. So tutorial mod, and that's capitalized, of course, because it is a class, so we're using camel case. So yeah, this is going to point to your main class. Very important you get this right. For mixins, we're actually going to delete this line. Mixins are a little bit advanced, and we're gonna talk about them in a separate video. So for now, you can actually just delete this and leave this as an empty array. Otherwise, it might throw an error if we don't have anything set there. So, or we set something that doesn't exist rather. Great, so next we have the depends section. You can leave this how it is, but this is essentially specifying the minimum required version for all of these things here, all of these dependencies, in order for the mod to run. So this is just saying that the user must have at least this Fabric loader version and at least Minecraft 1.19 and at least Java 17 to actually run this mod. So yeah, that's pretty basic, but you can also add additional dependencies later on when we talk about libraries. And then suggest, you can pretty much just ignore. This is just suggesting mods that it recommends you add as well as the mod. So you can get rid of this if you want or keep it, whatever you want to do. It's not very important. But yeah, now that that is done, we should have all of our settings set. So we can get out of here. And now we need to actually build our mappings, or generate our sources rather. So to do that, we can go over to our terminal here. So go down to the bottom corner and there's a terminal section here. And we're gonna type /Gradle gen sources. And once you've typed that out, you can hit enter. And this is going to generate the sources from Fabric Loom. So this is gonna take a while. It usually takes me at least a couple minutes. So I will be back when it's done, but be patient and let it load. All right, so you can see here that the build was successful, so we can close out of this here. And yeah, we're pretty much done setting up our mod. Now all we have to do is actually run it to make sure that everything is working. So to run your mod, you can come over here to add configuration in the top right-hand corner. And if you click on application here, you should see a Minecraft client and a Minecraft server. And just like you would expect, this is to allow you to run a Minecraft server with your mod and run a Minecraft client with your mod. So we're gonna hit Minecraft client, of course, because we just wanna run single player. Hit OK, and you should see up here, you have that configuration set. And anytime you wanna run your mod, you just make sure you click on Minecraft client and hit the green triangle to run. And this will actually run Minecraft with your mod. So it'll take a second, but I will be right back when we're actually in the game. All right, so as you can see, Minecraft has loaded for Minecraft version 1.19 Fabric. And if we look at our console here, you can see that there's no major errors, but you will get some of these errors here. This is totally normal. These specific errors here are just failing to verify your account because we're not using a real Minecraft account. So don't worry about those. Those are totally normal. But if we actually go up here, you can see the load order. It's loading all of these specific modifications to the game. And you can see if we scroll down here to the very bottom, that right after Minecraft 1.19 is loaded, we actually load our mod. So you should see your mod ID and the version number. And if you don't see this here, then that means that your mod did not initialize properly, and you'll have to restart this video and figure out what went wrong. But yeah, that means that everything is working perfectly. Now the last thing I'm going to do in the main class here is actually create a static string for our mod ID so that we can easily access it in other classes later on. So let's come down here in our tutorial mod main class, and right above this on initialize method, I'm just going to create a public static final string, and I'm going to name this mod_ID. And this is going to be equal to our mod ID. So if you remember in the fabric.mod.json file here, we set our mod ID right here to tutorial. So we're going to copy this mod ID exactly, and we're going to paste it in. And yeah, so now we have our mod ID in our code, and we can very easily just access this in other classes by using tutorial mod.mod ID, and we can just do that in any class later on. Alright, so that's going to do it for this episode. We've set up our workspace, and in the next episode, we're going to actually create a custom item. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.